Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Thor issue 10. And this was a crazy, insane, epic issue because of what we were truly shown Donald Blake is as a threat. Because we had had a taste in the previous issues, but this really cemented kind of more his state of mind and what his goals are. Now, granted, he's still kind of crazy, but he knows what he's doing, and we know his motivations. We know a lot of interesting kind of things about him that are packed into this issue. This is a big kind of thing, and is really important to what's kind of going on here. So, we start out and we see that Blake is actually reading from the Book of Kings and is talking to us about what would seem like an inconsequential event. Talking about Blake's life before finding the cane and changing into Thor. Talking about him being pre-med, being in this village in Nicaragua, and detailing his reaction to coming across a bullet ant and getting bitten by it, and all the pain and everything that went along with that, and finding out that it didn't exist. That those were all fabricated and lies. And then we see him ripping out pages from the Book of Kings that Thor's had seen, like all these different kind of things, seeing Thunderstrike in there. I like that call out. That was kind of cool. But Blake has been ruminating on what kind of God would make something for it to just suffer. Because, think about it. Why would it, from Blake's point of view, it is unimaginable cruelty to create something to essentially be a morality lesson to his son and give him memories of pain and anguish and everything that, from Blake's point of view, mean nothing. Now, granted, you could talk about how that would inform him as a person and be like, okay, pain's not good, and that there are trials and tribulations, but Blake has a valid point of view of that pain meant nothing. That was mainly to just show mortal anguish to a god to attempt to humble him. If it could have. Right, we learned it did. But that's a big thing, and we see that becomes the crux of Blake's plan. It's no more. He's not letting that shit fly anymore. He's going through the armory, looking at Yarnborn and the Destroyer. He wants to do the same thing to Odin, but let that anguish be true and real and bring him low. It's like, holy shit. And, of course, he's trying to get the Destroyer to kind of get up together and everything, but then in bursts Lady Sif, Volstagg, and Beta Ray Bill. And he's like, oh, okay, you want me to drop the axe? As he then tosses Yarnborn at Lady Sif, but it is caught by Beta Ray Bill as he then goes to attack Blake. Blake then completely dismantles him in this 2-page spread that's freaking awesome. And the thing is, Blake is like, listen, you and I, we're brothers. We both were used as lessons to humble Odin's son. And I have the memories, so I've seen what has happened to you, and I would have thought that I would have recommended that you wouldn't fight in your state, as he's like tactically taking someone down. People would be like, would a doctor really know that much to really fight? And if you have the physical prowess, having the knowledge of where you can break and hurt and bend and just destroy a person, because you need to know how things break in order to fix them. And we see that Blake knows how to break shit now. And he takes down Beta Ray Bill and brings about that he's like, no more Thors, as he rips the power away from Beta Ray Bill. He goes back from the kind of horse face that we usually are used to the kind of normal kind of civilian kind of thing. He's trying to go away. And he's going to like use Yarnborn to take down and kill Beta Ray Bill. And then, of course, Sif and the rest, she's brought the Thunder Guard and the rest of the warriors, and he just fucking takes them out like a dragon. Just lays low the warriors of Asgard, and that is a mighty feat. He goes through them like he's got the power of their king, because only, like, someone with that kind of power would be able to stand up to the combined might of the Asgardians like this. Taking Volstagg, throwing him out a window, taking down Lady Sif and taking her sword, and we're like, yeah, you can see everything, but you got to keep your mind on the moment in a fight. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, now I'm going to take everything from you guys, and then uses the Bifrost and transports Lady Sif and the rest of them, and has taken Asgard away and puts them in like the dimension blood, which is like the hunting grounds of the Vampa Cambra, as we see this ghastly looking red landscape with giant fucking flies. Was not expecting that. I'm like, oh god. And Volstagg's like, I don't know where we're at. And she's like, doesn't matter, we'll deal with here, but where is Thor? Of course, we then shift and we see that we get two kind of pieces. One part, we see that Blake has gotten Asgard's like, yeah, I understand why you forget about me, as he shaved himself, cleaned himself, and now has control of Asgard, has the cane, has, of course, Sif's sword where he can control the Bifrost. It's like, yeah, I can see, now I gotta talk to some other friends. We then see Thor is still going around Blake's prison, shouting for anybody around, and he runs into the serpent, Jormungand. And, of course, that's important because in Norse mythology, that's the Midgard serpent, the one that like Thor will have a titanic battle with in regards with Ragnarok. Well, Jormungand decides to talk about what's going on, where, okay, he usually goes around the base of the World Tree. This, interesting enough, is being called the World Ash, talking about what's going on with Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and we still need more information on that, but evidently not going very good if it's called the World Ash. But evidently he'd been going around, he saw this, broke into the prison, and was going to try and swing Blake to his side, two dragons, to fight the two golden birds, Odin and Thor. But the thing is, it awoke a madness in Blake with regards to all the suffering and everything, and that he, instead of accepting and sharing the power, took the power of Jormungand and actually flayed his hide, and Jormungand is evidently dying as well, to fuse with what's going on within him. He was able to get into this prison because when the Odin Force passed on to Thor, it weakened the magic and he was able to get in. And evidently, from what we've also seen with Blake's battle and what Jormungand tells us, Blake has access to the Odin Force as well, which you now actually have a being that's got two powerful forces that are supposed to be in opposition to each other in himself. So he is even beyond the usual dragon and golden bird metaphor that we've seen throughout this arc, as they're talking about the kind of balancing that usually goes on with this. And you're like, oh god, what's he going to do? And he's like, he's not going to stop. He's going to take everything you've ever loved, and he is something that you have never fought before, Thor. It's like this. It's really effective kind of setting up, because it follows the great tradition of showing and telling, because it has shown what Blake can do and what he is capable of, while then giving us the information of how it kind of got there and what his kind of endgame goal is. He's going to take everything he's ever loved, as we see that Blake has gotten onto Midgard and has gotten together with James. Like, oh, I haven't seen you in forever, man. And he, of course, has a kind of creepy smile at the end. And it's like, wow, we are definitely going to have to see what Blake is going to do, because we've got his motivation, but we have to see what he's going to be planning on and how he's going to be taking them out, and how Thor's going to deal with this, because he's dealing with someone that has the same kind of power force he's got, king level, with also his opposites level. So it's going to be, Thor's definitely going to have to think outside the box on how to deal with this. And I hope Beta Ray Bill gets back to his status quo at some point, because he's been really screwed over in this. And I mean, I'm glad to have him around and be important for these stories, but it's like, god damn, Stormbreaker got broken. He has now had his power taken from him by Blake. I at first was like, this is going to be kind of weird having Blake kind of set up like this as kind of a villain, but I'm like, you got me, man. I am into this. I'm invested, and I cannot wait to see how this goes on and go on this crazy wild journey ride. So those are my opinions for the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.